All right, you are now tuned into the Rotated Views podcast. I am your host, Jimmylee Velez. I'm here with Gabe, Goose, Heck, and Candace, the busy Beeb. In this episode, we have special guest, Candace Renzi. We cover topics that range from marketing, creativity, entrepreneurship, fashion, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Helen Keller and Maya Angelou. Guys, if you're new, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to download and subscribe. We drop a new episode every Tuesday morning for your listening pleasure. Kicking things off, Candace, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, so let's jump right into it. So for those of us who do not know who you are and what you do, let us know.
Okay, so I'm Candace Renzi. I'm owner of the Busy Beeb, which is a small tie-dye, reverse dye apparel company. Mm-hmm. We do other things too, but mainly sports and anything that honestly I like.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so how did you get started, right? Were you just, did you saw an idea or had an idea and created a t-shirt out of nowhere, or?
So honestly, the Busy Beebs was many things.
Yeah.
It started as a gift basket business, and then it went into a like chocolate covered goods business.
Yeah.
And I did that, and I like Valentine's Day was big. I did it like when the Eagles were in the Super Bowl,
oh,
and
nice.
I could not handle it by myself. I was like dipping chocolate and yelling at people. It was just horrible. And I had a full-time job at the time too,
yeah.
So it was just like crazy. And then I like tie-dye started getting really big,
yeah.
And reverse dye started getting really big. And I'm one of those people, I think I get it from my dad because
yeah.
he's like, I can do this myself.
Yeah.
So I had that mentality like, I don't think it's that hard.
Right.
I'm going to try it.
Right.
And I made some stuff for myself, and that's kind of, it's been since that.
Wow.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
We recently had that same mentality with putting up a fence. It's like, I feel like we can do this. You know what I mean? And we did, but it wasn't as easy as I remember it once was. We had a little bit of experience, but it is kind of funny. You look at certain things, you're like, now wait a minute, I can definitely do this. Your little, I don't know, what the little thoughts that go in your mind, like.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this.
In my dad's mind, he could like build a pool. Like he was just like, go big or go home. He didn't care.
That's crazy because today I was at work. I was thinking about I'm trying to lay out a back patio with pavers. So, and I have all the pavers. I have the majority of the stuff, and I'm like, I definitely could do this myself. Like, I really don't need any help. To the point where I'm watching videos
like
on YouTube, like trying to figure it out. I'm like, I definitely could do this in my head. I can only hear my wife. I'm like, yeah, you're not doing it. That's what I definitely can hear.
My mom was too supportive. She was like, no, you can do it.
Yeah.
Watch that YouTube video. No, you can't.
Continue the video.
Hire someone, please.
That's funny. So talk a little bit about that. Was that kind of, what was your process? Did you made it one or two things here and there? All of a sudden you're dipping chocolate pretzels or whatever. Yeah. And then like, did what was your mentality? What were you thinking? Like, what should I do with
actually, okay. So my best friend was getting married.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just got a Cricut,
yeah.
which like you can make your own vinyl stuff,
Yes.
and I'm gonna make you. I was the maid of honor, so I was like, I'm making you everything my body can handle.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? That's kind of cute. Let me see if I can like either do the design myself, hire someone to make the design for me, figure it out. And the first thing I did was like this Hocus Pocus inspired sweatshirt that I've seen everywhere. Yeah. But I was like, how can I kind of make it my own? Like, give me bleach, give me water. I'm gonna see what colors make what colors. And it was like, I think I made a couple, and I was like, okay, so this much bleach and this much water makes this color, and this does this, and that's how it started. And
I love it. And so you're making tie-dye shirts, which I absolutely love. And then, so what were you doing with the designs though? So you had a Cricut. So explain a little bit for the folks who do not know what a Cricut is and how it works.
So like you have a computer software, and you can do vinyl like stickers, you can do vinyl like car decals, or you can do heat transfer vinyl, which is what goes onto shirts, bags, that kind of stuff that you need this heavy duty iron to really make it stick. And so you can upload stuff to this software. You can design it yourself. You can get certain fonts and they let you edit it and cut and do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
If you have the patience and the time, you probably could make anything you wanted.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Some years ago, maybe, I don't know, probably 2010, so what, 12 years ago, me, Goose, and a buddy of ours, we thought we were going to start a shirt company of our own called Go Getter Global. And we had the G's, those 3 G's, as we so humbly considered ourselves. So it was like so you would know it was in cursive, like the G's. So it's 3 lowercase G's in cursive. And he had one of those vinyl transfer machines. I have no idea, but we had tweezers and we were picking the letters.
Yeah.
And within like 2.5 weeks, we're like all looking at each other like, I don't know about it. I think we should invest in a machine, man.
Screen press,
Yeah. That's hilarious. So that is tedious.
Yeah, and the thing that's awful, like you say about the tweezers, you still have to do that. Like it doesn't cut it all the way.
Yeah.
You still have to like peel back majority of the sticker, do the little like nitty-gritty pieces. And if you have a design that is like crazy, like I have like lost my temper at some times. Like I'm not doing this anymore. Flip the table. Like, it's all because they're like micro. And like no amount of light. I have like a special light. I have like this magnifying glass thing. Nothing really. One little move and it's all done.
All right. So explain your own Busy Beeb logo and how it came about. What's its significance or anything like that?
So my first logo was actually the one on this t-shirt that I made myself.
Nice.
So it was like funny that I wore it today because I was talking to my brother about it and he was like, oh no, that's old. Like that's from a couple years ago. And then they say like if the font's not right, you have no idea what something says. Like you kind of need something like bold and straight. And so I bought a design software and kind of just like sat through, and I didn't want to like pigeonhole myself so much to where like, because I've seen some people have logos and I think they're great, but they have like paint splatter. I think it's so cute, but I didn't want to only do tie-dye. So I was like, what can I do that's kind of me, but it's also not like you only do tie-dye or you only do sports or anything like that. And I like went through so many fonts. Like, so many fonts. It was crazy. And it was like, you could understand what it said. It was like, I thought it was cool. Like, I mean, it might not be, but I thought it was nice.
I love that. I mean, that's all it really
very confident. That's all that matters.
It's mine. So. And saved it and I think I did a poll actually on Instagram.
Okay.
That was like, do you like this color? Can you see what it says? Is because I have like this kind of like deserty road above the name. Like, is this weird? Like that kind of thing. And some people are like, no, I don't like that color. And some people are like, no, that's great. And then I was like, well, it's mine. So, okay.
Nice.
It's interesting when you start your own project, business. We say this all the time about musicians. You feel so vulnerable because it's your baby, it's your project, it's your business, and you put all the blood, sweat, and tears into it. It's personal. It's very personal.
Oh, for sure.
And so, even though it's nice to get feedback, I still to this day can't help but get like not offended, but you know what I mean, but like uptight a little bit when someone kind of is like, "Oh, that shirt's corny." Like, oh man, and I don't even know if it's necessarily because you need that, right? You need that feedback, you need that just someone's an opinion. You do need that. However, you also you have to take it for what it's worth too. Where in the beginning, I think I was likely getting more just uptight because everything was so brand new. Whereas now it's like I don't like literally. It doesn't. When it comes to the Blessed Lifestyle brand, I've gotten so many emails and things about customer service, and that it's not that it doesn't. I'm not offended or I don't care. It's just that you're just used to it. And so it's actually a good thing. My skin is a little bit thicker. Whereas I can take it easier, and it's like all right. And because I'm all about customer service, I want to make sure the right things done. But Explain that a little bit, because that's not easy in the beginning.
No, even like not just the beginning. A couple months ago, I did this event, and I think I was asking people like, because I have different things. I'm not going to bring every size of everything. Do you want to see this? Do you want to see that? Is this a good idea? And I had a couple where people were like, no, like don't bring it. And I caught myself like, wait, why? Like, why don't you? Why shouldn't I do this? And then I had to like sit back and be like, no, like I like it. Like, there's 10 other people who are saying so why am I so stressed out about this one person saying no? And so like, I mean, I'm still a little sensitive, but not as much. I think I'm like, now it's been a little bit. I've done like a couple back-to-back events, and I'm like, even if I think it's not the biggest seller, like someone really might walk by and be like, oh, I love this, and like grab it. And even if there's only one there of it. The last event I did, I think I brought some random shirt. It was from like, I did this like hungover line, and I was like, it's a random color. I don't really love it, but I'm not going to leave it at home. And she walked up and was like, oh, I love this.
Oh my gosh,
I need this. And I was like, please take it. That's awesome. It's okay.
That is funny. Yeah, I mean, and it's what's interesting is I feel that happened to me. I was coming out with themes. I just felt for me at that point that's what made the most sense, I guess. And I remember it was Valentine's Day, I guess, was coming up maybe a year or two ago, and I was like, and this was not that it was a last minute design, but it just came so naturally to my mind that I just threw it together. It was a love it just said love thyself on it, had a heart, like a drippy heart, and then my logo in the center of the heart. That was like my number one seller, and it was something that I didn't even necessarily was crazy about, but I'm like, oh man, I wanted to like tie it into, Valentine's Day. And then there's like ones where I pour like my blood, sweat, and tears. I'm like, this is going to be
makes no sense.
And some dude's like, yo, that's straight trash. I'm like, oh man. But it is funny because I say this to Goose all the time. If you see some of the text messages, calls, emails, people just trash and I don't even, it has nothing to do with like I just think that's what they are, like that's who they are. I think they do that to everyone they encounter or whatever. So once I realized that for me personally, I stopped taking it personal. Like, this is business. I mean, I gotta stop getting because I'd be like staring at the ceiling like, oh man, I wonder, well instead, because here's what I did. All of a sudden I was like, all right, well, what would you like to see? I then put that design together and they didn't buy it. I'm like, I literally put together exactly what, it was like a handful of people asked for and not a single of them purchased it. It did sell, like it did quote sell out of it, but it was like, it took slower, longer, and it was nothing I was even passionate about. I just put it together. So I don't know. That's a touch and go. And you got to also move with the market though. So right, like there's that part of demand that you still have to meet, but at the same time you have to love it yourself too.
Like I made this like when we first got James Harden on the Sixers. I was like, I don't know nothing about basketball. But like, if I go to a game, I guess I need a shirt, and I think I was either going or something. I was like, let me throw something together, and I was so proud of it. Like it was like bleach dye with a skyline, and like in red it said "Fear the Beard," and I was so proud. And I went and I did a giveaway, and I think like I had like all kinds of shares, all kinds of likes, like hundreds. And then not one soul bought the shirt. And I was like, this does not add up. Like I was like upset. Like to this day, I was like, what is wrong with this shirt? Like everyone loved it.
Sure.
And then I tried to stop thinking about that. And then I had this shirt that honestly, I think I just poured bleach on it, if I'm being real. And I looked at it like months later and I was like, this kind of looks like the Phillies, like old school maroon. And then my dad is a huge sports fan and he was like, no, it kind of does. Like it's a nice thing. So then I like got the old school Phillies P and just was like, okay, well, let me see how this looks. And like that has been like my bestseller to this day.
Oh, wow.
Like
not
no thought put into it, just like awesome. Completely like let me slap this on there.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable. I know when I first started out, Goose has on the original logo, and see how big it is literally going to his armpits. One pit to the next. Well, you learn. So I didn't know, and I was just doing this like we were saying, like starting out as my lifestyle brand. It is what it is. But a lot of people kept requesting small box logo. They're like, do something little, do something smaller. Yeah. And that was something that I listened to, and it's sold like 10 times more than the original logo. Then I had like an alternate logo, and I think I may have, when I came out with that, I was so proud of it. Like, we literally got it tattooed on us. And it was like, yo, this is like the dopest thing ever. And I think it confused everybody. Like, what is it though? So then I realized, I'm like, all right, I got to make sure for the next several releases, it has to come with the old logo. So you're not disassociating or adding confusion. I just think I got way too excited. Well, right now, like, years later, it's known, and if you saw it, you know what it is. But when I first came out with it, it was when I was so pumped up. And it was like, I don't get it. What is it? Like, and then I had to like literally come up with posts that's explaining the logo. Like, this is
like this shirt. I like was leaving today, and my brother was like, "There's something on your shirt." And I was like, what, like scared, like what's wrong with my shirt? He was like, what are those little things around the logo? And I was like, they're bees. Like, they're bees, like the busy bee. And he was like,
I don't see
and I was like, no, get it? Like B. And he was like, okay. And I was like, okay, well, glad I changed that.
That's hilarious. All right, so I saw that you had a website. So what is the website? Are the items off of there constantly changing? What is your thought process with it? Or you just use it just to have something available online?
So when I do the social media posts, it's just one at a time.
Okay.
It's a lot of it sometimes repeats itself because instead of just product pictures, I'll do like me in it, someone else in it, whatever the case may be. So the website is essentially just everything that I have, just like you can easy go look, see what the sizes are, see what the color options are. And if you're local, like you don't have to order it on Etsy, just like write me. And it's just like a more organized way than people like to reference. But I do, as I go along, add whatever products I add.
Nice. Yeah, one of the things about being a small business owner is inventory. And inventory, or maybe the lack of. I remember I came out like, very basic shirt, and it went way faster than I thought it was gonna go. And I remember just thinking, like, how do I not have it's a basic black tee with white lettering? And I remember thinking, like, because I didn't even understand, like, I didn't spend the money, I just didn't reinvest it fast enough to, like, I made, let's just say, several $100s, and then just to get it and buy more inventory, where I was so freaked out, I'm like, all right, next design. And everyone's like, hey, you probably should have did a deeper platform, like another run on that. But inventory has always been a struggle of mine. First of all, space was one thing, and then upfront cost, and then it was like, how am I storing this? Should I then put them all like in bin? Well, first they're just out folded neatly, and then you realize when someone's over your house or you're just running through like, oh, let me grab a medium, and then all of a sudden you come home and things are messed. It's upside down. I forgot what I have. And then I came up with a system, the bins, and each bin has a specific size, whatever. Then you're selling at these like events, these craft shows or whatever, and like someone was like, oh, can I get a bag? I was like, yeah, I don't have bags. I didn't even think of bags. I was so happy that I had put all my money into this shirt that I was so proud of, and this movement. This guy wants a bag? And it's so funny, like that was so important to them. So then I got that, and then I went on Amazon or something, got like white bags that said thank you on them. You know what I mean? And they're just like shoving the shirts in there.
And did you get the bags for the actual shirts too? Like sleeves?
The clear cellophane bags. So then the next feedback was, or it wasn't even feedback, it was on my own observation. I made white shirts with black lettering, and it was during the summer, obviously. And so I was grabbing the shirts. I guess apparently I had like grubby mustard on my hands. I was sitting there grabbing the shirts, handing them like, Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even that. Even if my hands were clean, it was just the natural like oils in my hand. I'm like, oh man, I think I just like fudged that one. And now I'm like getting heartbroken. So I'm like, I'm blowing through my own inventory just out of not doing this the right way. So then I individually wrapped every single one. But you don't have to necessarily do that. But it was for that process. That got really cool though, because then I was like slapping the sticker sizes on them. I was like, oh my God, that was so much easier. A lot more work, but it preserved. And then the shirts weren't getting dust or anything on them.
Yeah.
Anyway, since the show's not about me, and I'd like to think about it, cool story. What are your thoughts on all that? Touche?
I love it.
So what do you do for inventory? Is it like something you struggle with? It's something that you kind of moderate?
I used to really struggle with it. So like when I first started this, I was in my parents' basement, like with my desk and my one machine and like my little cup holder of little tools. And I just had stuff like all over, like the floor, the desk, everywhere. So I had no idea what I had. And then I moved to a different location. And then I had like clear bins that are by size.
Yes.
And then that even was like, I didn't have them labeled, so I have like 7 different bins, and I'm like sorting through like what's extra small, what's 4X, what's going on. And I just recently got this like closet, I don't even know what it is, like
organizer type thing?
Like there's shelves and you can hang things, so it's definitely helped because I have things in different stages. I have like plain tees that aren't bleached yet, bleached tees that don't have anything on them yet, and then things that are done and they just haven't sold yet or haven't been picked up. So it's definitely made it easier I can just grab and go and know and take a lot of stress away.
The good thing, one of the biggest, another lesson I learned was you just mentioned sizes. So when I first started, I had a very specific niche t-shirt that I was trying to sell, and it was bendecido t-shirts, which is blessed in Spanish, and it had like the map of Puerto Rico. Well, first of all, I really just narrowed down like who my customer base is. But we did a collaboration with the National Puerto Rican Chamber of Commerce, so there was a lot behind it. It was like a whole movement or whatever. But anyway, I don't know why, but it was like I was like a year in too, and I ordered all like the same number for each size. Like, I need 20 smalls, 20 mediums, 20, and just went like that. And I was like, I don't know why, but I have 25X. Like, knowing dang well I didn't need 25. I mean, somebody's gonna buy it, but I don't think 20 people needed that in my small area. So then I started seeing what was selling. Then I started tracking, and I was like, oh, okay, large and XL are going to sell more. So I'm going to push the sizes towards that. Instead of 25Xs, I'll get 5Xs and get 15, and
I learned that the hard way when I had like 35 extra small and smalls left. And I'm like, no one is buying these. Like, even like the super small girls and boys, like they don't even want them that small. They want them a little bigger. So like, they're just hanging out still.
Yeah, and then it was so funny because it was like, on top of it, it was this very specific T-shirt. I'm like, oh my gosh, I still have them. Like I literally still have some of these shirts.
3 years later.
But no, I actually, it's a reminder. It's just like, think, dude, you got this stuff. This is the learning process with all this.
It's part of your catalog now at this point.
It really is, and it's classic. And here's the other thing, quality. So I went through this. We're doing a print on demand, which was what I wanted to ask you actually, and then I just veered off because I selfishly keep talking about me. But print on demand. So I think that was also, that's where I was going with the shirt. So I made so many of this one size. I didn't need to do that. I could have just, even if I did one, and then if someone else ordered it, I could have literally got it printed on demand. I didn't need to go crazy. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's personally for me easier that way because I've done things where I'll have one style of shirt. And with time, if it's still hanging around, I turn it into something else. So like, I think it just like stops me from being able to, like, I'm stuck with it at that point. Like to take vinyl off is absolute chaos, so it doesn't work that way. So I wouldn't be able to reuse it or rebrand it or do whatever I want. So I'm more so as needed, or if I'm going to a big event, I'll make a bunch of whatever styles. But for the most part, it's on demand.
Yeah, so the other thing was when I moved from just t-shirts to other articles of clothing, I wanted to maintain, so the shirts, I got a lot of feedback, like, oh, I love the quality of these shirts, keep doing them, blah, blah. Then I had like, people like, well, winter's coming, can you do hoodies?
Yeah.
So I was like, yes, I'll do hoodies. And for somehow, some way, I found the same brand doing the same hoodies. And then the company that I was working with, unbeknownst to me, they named it something. So initially when I was printing on demand, they had the brand of the clothing that I was going to pick. So let's just say it's brand A, and I knew what I was going to get, or my customers were going to get. Yeah. They then put brand A in a category. This is like 2 years later, and so it would be let's just say brand A, B, C, and D all went to quality 1. But it wasn't the same quality. Yeah. So now people are ordering what I'm assuming was this one brand, and it wasn't. Yeah. This dude got like a hoodie, the sleeve fell off. Like it was like, but and it messed my brand up a little bit because people were expecting the high quality, and here they are getting this cheap, branded hoodie, and
depending on like the size too. Like if it was a larger size, then they got a different quality because it was a totally different brand of shirt.
Color. So color makes a big, as you know, big difference when you're depending on the font or the color of the print that you're putting on it. So if I picked a light green and have white font, it's going to be very different from another color. So it was with the grays. So I had like a solid gray color, like these walls, right? People were getting like a heather gray where it had almost like a design in it, and my logo like disappeared in the heather gray, and it was like, this is not what I agreed to sell. And actually I was embarrassed because I was selling, like here's the image of what you're gonna get, and they get it, and it was like some like cheap whatever brand hoodie, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's like a shadow of the
So
design.
I was refunding I was taking an L after L. Not only that, I wasn't only refunding, I was refunding and then giving them product. So then if I had like an extra hat, extra hat or two, I was throwing them a hat. Like, sorry about that, here's your refund, here's a hat, here's some bracelets, here's stickers. Like, I was trying to make up for it. I don't know, do you have any experience with that?
So I've had a problem with getting shirts, and I didn't know this until I came across it. Different shirts, different brands, they can look the same, be the same color, but if they're not exactly the same, that doesn't mean that they're going to bleach the same. So I had a shirt, my maroon Philly shirt. When you bleach dye it with what I use, it turns into like a tan color. Well, I got these other shirts in, and I'm doing the same solution, same marks, like measurements, everything, and it turned pink.
Oh, wow.
And I like have people who are like, yeah, I'm coming to pick up my shirt in a couple hours. And I'm like, right. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Please just give me a couple days. Like, I was sent the wrong shirts. Like, I'll give you this. I'll give you that. Just don't be mad at me. Like, completely. I wouldn't think that they would, because they're both 100% cotton. Like, in theory, they should be exactly the same. But the thread isn't dyed the same, so it's not going to bleach the same, and it's just like a headache.
So when it comes to bleaching, is there like a process that you have to do first to the shirt before you do the bleaching on it? Like, what is your process?
So it depends on what it is. If it's I have certain like folding or tying styles for different shirts.
Do you use the classic rubber bands? Because I know my daughters, they do that. They get the rubber bands, tie up the shirt, and then they squirt away with the color. But it's not bleaching.
Some of them I don't need rubber bands. They kind of just like stick in that if it's like a spiral. But I'll do that, and then based on whatever color I want, it just varies. So some will be more bleach to water, some will be not as good of a bleach. So like Clorox versus like dollar store. And it sounds insane, but they really do produce different colors and different splatter patterns and everything like that. And then normally they bleach pretty fast. So you it's not like tie-dye where they need a night or two. You just have to like stare at it until you get the color that you want, because do
you rinse it? Like once you spray the bleach on it, you look at it, you're like, all right, this is good. Re-hose it.
I untie it real fast, check the pattern, make sure it's okay, and then I like I rinse it and then throw it in the wash. But when you rinse it with cold water, it stops the bleaching process.
Right.
So soon, you don't even have to full wash it. Like if you have like, sometimes if I have a big load of shirts, I'll just like rinse it real fast and tuck it to the side until the other ones catch up. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
That's tricky.
It's a little.
So how hard is it to say 5 people ordered the same shirt, like let's say this Philly shirt, and it's with the bleach. How do you make the same pattern with the bleach on it? I mean,
well, each one's going to be custom.
It's
not
going to be exactly the same. Okay.
Yeah, in my listings, I kind of say not so much with like Facebook or Instagram, but Etsy, just because that's a little bit like. They'll leave you feedback and be mean if they don't.
Technicality of it,
they'll just like go at you. But everything I have to be like, it's tie-dye, it's bleach dye, it's not going to look the same. Like you might even have, for example, green, though if it's like a emerald green or whatever, that will dye to blue before it gets to yellow. So some parts of it might have blue in it, even though it's majority a yellow and green shirt. Right. So I have to kind of be like, it's not like you
have
it's
to
okay.
incorporate those colors. It's gonna be a green, blue, and yellow shirt.
Yes, like or take a good
Yeah.
enough picture to where like if they zoom in, they can see that there actually is blue in there, or it's whiter in some spots. Yeah, because it's just a free for all sometimes.
So earlier we were talking about meeting a demand, whether it was the style, trend, or just folks wanting a particular shirt. Is there anything you do to kind of stay in tune, or you kind of just go with the flow, see what's happening in the world, or specific websites, or do you kind of tune in that way, or you just kind of just the designs are just whatever you feel like at that moment? Or a little bit of both?
Some of them, I guess it is a little bit of both, because I feel like TikTok really does show like a bunch of different, like, because there's all kinds of people on there. So there are some people right now, a popular thing with girls is like more of like a funky letter, and they're waved and all that stuff. So I probably wouldn't know about that just off the bat. I could maybe, but
no, absolutely.
Yeah, not 100%. So between that, people's Instagrams, like kind of just get a feel of what for that certain demographic, because like a guy's not going to wear what a girl wears the majority of the time. Right. I try to keep it as unisex as I can, but some things do have more of a girlier feel. But just that, and I guess like seeing what people wear to games. Like what. I don't want things to ever look like cookie cutter and like, oh, you could have bought this at like the MLB store or something like that. But for the most part, just like traditional but cute and unique, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think with the tie-dye, you are, like to that point, the patterns, you actually are getting something like unique to you, right? I mean, not one is the same. Earlier, you were talking about, you initially started with maybe bags, chocolates and things like that. But was there anything that you're still incorporating, like, or would like to go back to or add? Maybe not the chocolate so much, but the bags or anything else that you were doing in the past?
Every Halloween I did personalized trick-or-treat bags. So I still do offer them every Halloween, even though it's just like random stuff. So there's that. I used to make these wood stove covers with like cut wood and handles, and it was personalized and stained and all that stuff. I don't really promote it because it takes a lot of time. But I have people who a couple years ago, they bought stuff and recommended me to other people, so they'll randomly write me and be like, hey, do you still do this? And I'm like, no, I can. I mean, I don't really promote it because I feel, especially like with social media and Instagram and all, it kind of all has to flow together. You can't just have stuff like out of nowhere. So I'm like, I do have it. I do. I will. But it's more so like, if you want it.
It's really hard. Another thing too is like with the small business and the business that we're in, it's really hard to price things. I personally feel anyway, and I'll just speak for myself. When I'm designing things or putting things together, you put everything into it.
Yeah.
But what is the value of, like, what truly is the value of that? Materials aside, and you start to get frustrated because you're doing all this report, and then, like, you know, some big company just mass produce and just like sit on you. You're like, oh my gosh, I just put in so much time. But there's something about the craftsmanship of someone knowing a single person or just a group of 5-10 people are putting this together that I'd rather buy than knowing, you know, some huge factory put it together.
And I think on top of it, like, I see, it's like a joke, like, that you see on social media, like, oh, I love Etsy orders because I love the free little gifts and the handwritten card, and then, like, and it's really true.
It's true,
like,
though.
I find myself going down, like, an assembly line, even, like, non-Etsy orders. I'm like, business cards, here's a koozie, here's a this, like, here's some chocolate, I don't know, love me.
I love that. I love that.
But I have always, I think from the jump, when I got into doing, like, the sports stuff, because I bought something from a company and I just didn't think the price was fair. Especially when I like looked at it and I'm like, okay, so if I find this hat in this store and I know this is clearly bleach, so, like, there's no reason this should be costing me almost 3 times the amount that I'm gonna pay. And I've never felt fair doing that to someone. And, like, I've had people come up to me and they're like, you know, you probably can get more for your shirts. And I'm like, I know, but I know how much it costs me to do it. I know how much I can make at one time, so it kind of does get condensed. I mean, it's hard work. I'm not acting like it's not. But I don't feel comfortable charging because I can. Like, yes, don't get me wrong, I want to make money, but I also want to be fair. I also don't feel comfortable, like, like, people that, like, charge more for bigger sizes. Like, okay, I'll take the slight loss so that you feel included and like it's inclusive, because I just don't think that's right. The only thing I will say is I feel terrible because a lot of distributors charge the same for child sizes as well as adult. And I've had people be like, so is it this much for a kid shirt? And I find myself like, I'm so sorry, but it has to be because that's how much I pay. Like, I search, but that's just, it's the same price.
It's true. From the kid sizes and to that other point, the once you go past 1X, it's like, I don't know, how much more material too, and how much less? And shouldn't there be a balance of it all? Like, don't you have all these extra smalls and then all these extra large, and there's 2X? Shouldn't that, I don't know, in my mind, it somehow should balance out somewhere.
And why am I not getting, like, a youth shirt for, like, $2 instead of $8? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
No, absolutely. Have you ever partnered with anyone where, well, you said you did a like a bachelorette party, your best friend's bachelorette party. Have you ever partnered or done anything else like that where it's almost like a singled theme?
I actually just got done. I did I want to say it was when they were getting ready, like a bridal party. So she wanted these hoodies to match her colors. And I was like, she sent me a specific hoodie and I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I've never done it with this material before, so I can't tell you how it's gonna come out. I want to be very transparent. If you want to give me a day to figure it out, and I'll come back to you, it's okay. And then we worked out something I was comfortable with, and then I had to, they didn't make the color she wanted in, like, dye. So I was like, I'm doing a social experiment, like trying to figure out how to get this color. But she got these, like, beautiful sage green zip up that her whole entire bridal party could wear, and it was just, like, amazing.
That's awesome.
So I've done that, and then I've done recently I worked with one of the, like, Philadelphia influencers. I think she's more mainline. The Lower Merion foodie. And I actually met her on, like, this, like, Philly Gals app where it's just, like, girls my age. And she was like, oh, I love your stuff, we should do a collab. And I was like, some people aren't that nice. So it's like, wait, are you serious? Because she has like 18,000 followers on Instagram. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, of course. So I like made her a tie-dye shirt and like the colors of her logo, and I like made her this new font logo, and she like wore it on a podcast like this, and I was like, I could cry. Like, you were so nice. Like, you were so sweet to me. And like to this day, like she's like such a good, like she's such a sweet girl.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So are there any things that you're looking forward to acquire, get, maybe scale up, anything like that, whether it's the inventory, machines, anything you're looking forward to in the future?
I think my life would become a lot easier if I invested in a heat press, because right now I have this, it's called an easy press, but it's not really easy.
Yeah.
And, you just like kind of.
Do you have the Cricut press for it, like the?
Yeah. You like hold it there, and
my wife has she has a press.
Yeah.
That she doesn't know how to use yet. She burns everything.
Yeah.
So I bought her the Cricut iron, and that's a little more.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. It's only so big, so if it's like a bigger size, you have to adjust with a bigger design.
Gotcha.
And it's like maybe 10 by 10 inches, so it's not going to do the other half of it, so you're like balancing.
That happened to us.
Just like that. You're like breaking it up half by half.
And I had no idea and placement of so I didn't know, and I submitted so I wanted to support another small business, and this guy had a t-shirt company or a printing press company, and I wanted to help him out. And so I'm like, all right, here's my logo, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, you sent me the size for the adults, but I need one for the kids. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, that big-ass logo is not going to fit in a little kid t-shirt, dude.
3 shirts.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, man. So it ended up costing me more because I didn't originally I paid someone to help design and make sure it was symmetrical, blah, blah, blah. And then I paid to use it as for commercial use, but I got a specific size. And then later on, I found out there was other tricks I could have done. I had no idea those. I was just literally brand new to it all. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I went back and paid this dude again to make the same thing but smaller. I'm just like, oh my gosh.
It's nice that with the Cricut software, you could take a logo like that and just say that looks like it's like 13 by 6, I don't know.
Yeah.
But you can go on there and it lets you edit it to whatever size you need, and it automatically adjusts from like 13 to 6, but it like shortens it. Yeah, it does a lot of this
symmetrically done.
Hard work for you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I forget what website I was using. I did a whole other. Oh, when we did this collaboration with the ones that I ordered way too many of, the National Puerto Rican Chamber of Commerce, and the website that I used, I think it was like Underground Printing or something like that, whatever. But this was like a commercial. This was going to be for commercial use. I was like, oh man, let me make sure we're doing this the right way. That website was awesome. It, like, to your point, it scaled everything. And the thing said, trust us. We'll make sure it's centered. And they did. It did everything how I asked. But there was something about scalability in the beginning, and I forget what it was. Either way, it was like the logos was like way too big. Oh, it was like when a guy wore my t-shirt versus where a woman wore my t-shirt. It was like I was not putting all that into account, and it was all the girls are wearing like this wavy blessed thing. I'm like, oh man, that looks awful. So that's where the small box blessed logo was perfect, because no matter what, size, shape, or whatever, it looked right. Have you learned anything with the scale or have any mess ups like that?
So it took like a lot of like trial and errors. I want to say it was like last year I went to Nashville for my birthday, and I had this great idea of making the whole group that went these like hungover sweatshirts, and I'm going to tie dye them, and we're going to be so cute, and we're going to recover together. And
that's awesome.
I made myself this sweatshirt because I had to be different. It was my birthday. And the decal I made, I don't know what size I thought I made, because it was from like armpit to armpit, right? And it was an oversized sweatshirt too, and it was just, I like try to take pictures, and even now to this day, and I'm like trying to like turn myself and like, how do I get this all in here? So there was that, or now I have this I don't even know what you would call it. You kind of like lay it down like it tells you what is centered, where you should put the pocket on everyone, as long as you line it up with the collar. So it really takes a lot of guesswork out of it, because I was doing hoodies for this organization called Savage Sisters that is like recovery houses and stuff. And they wanted the little like chest decal, and it took me hours because I'm like measuring down, measuring over, perfect placement. I'm staring at it 16 times to make sure it doesn't like look slightly off, because I'm wild. I need everything to be perfect. I don't care how long it takes. Like, it's a little annoying, but whatever. And it was just not a good time.
So I guess to save myself time and to support, again, small business, I ran through probably every t-shirt, company in the area. And that is a huge thing, where in the beginning I was just like, well, we're supporting each other, blah, blah, blah. And man, I was getting shirts that were all banged up. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And some of this stuff was already accounted for, like sold already. Yeah. And I would get it. I'm like, I can't do anything with a logo like this. Yeah. Dude, like, what am I supposed to do with that? And they're like, to your point, they're on their way to pick it up now. Like, I'm opening up, it gave me something like 2 weeks later.
And your heart's like dropping.
Yeah. And I'm like,
as you're staring
this is embarrassing.
At it. Yeah.
Because people, what you learn too is people treat their businesses differently, and have different standards. And maybe that might have worked for another company, but when you're just starting out, you basically have to be dang near perfect with things like that. I mean, if I'm not going to get my inventory right, at least put my logo on the straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I don't have your size, at least the size I am going to give you, at least it's look right. Nice. Yeah, exactly. And so those are everything. You become obsessed with these things.
I think that's why I steered away from like I used to do like personalized cups and the like things that take an obscene amount of detail. Yeah. Because I would find myself like just stressed out completely. Like, oh, that single stain doesn't look right. I trashed the whole thing. And my mom was like, no, like this is a handmade item. Like it's gonna be okay. No one is looking at that the way you are. And I'm like, no, trash it. Go get me more wood. Like, so it's a lot easier to have something like tie-dye. Everything's unique, so there's no like, oh, that looks slightly off.
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as the decal's okay, the majority of the time it's good.
So what would you say your favorite part about your experience thus far? Like, what has been one of the most maybe memorable moments?
I really love when I go to events and like just being able to talk to people, have people come up and they're like, oh, I love this. Oh, I met you at the last one. Oh, nice. Oh, you're so... I love your giveaway, or like how you said, like, oh, someone tagged me in something, and I'm like, really? Like, that's so sweet. And it's just, because my full-time job, I'm actually a nanny, so it's me and a baby all day. And to be able to be social and just talk and like have that one-on-one experience, or just like having someone tell me their idea, and I'm like, you know what, I probably would have never thought of that. That's an amazing idea. I think just the whole like interaction with people I really love.
Yeah, I mean, literally, we've never met prior to this, and my wife tagged me. She was doing a giveaway contest. I'm not sure exactly what it was. Maybe a week or two ago, or a month ago. I forget when it was.
Probably like a month ago.
Yeah, and she tagged me, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I liked it. Hit the follow, blah, blah, and just kept it moving. And I went back. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm looking at the thing. I didn't realize she was local, and I'm like, I gotta reach back out. I'm like, hang on, let's get her on the show. But just because of something so little as a giveaway, could have been given just a hoodie away or a t-shirt away, whatever it was, you don't know what that next
Honestly, giveaways have become such a huge part of like my marketing because it like pays to do it. Like something that costs a little time, a little bit of money. Like every 100 followers, I try to give something away. So last one was a t-shirt. I think I'm like 6 or 7 away from the next 100, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with that, because I want to like upstage each 100. I'm almost to 1,000, so I'm like trying to think of the big one. But like people tag, and I think every time I do a giveaway, I think the last time I did one, I got like 150 new followers.
That's awesome.
For like one single t-shirt. Yeah, so I'm like, Yeah, this one T-shirt is absolutely
People love
worth
free
it.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
try to win something.
Yup.
No one wants-
Yeah.
What was your reaction when you saw someone out wearing your
I was
product?
gonna say that.
Like you're out and about. You're out and about. Like just, I know the first time I saw his,
Yeah.
I was at the Home Depot and the guy had on the hat, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
Jim's hat. That's his brand name. And then he turned around, he had the shirt on. I'm like, dude, that's so wild. Like
Yeah.
I don't know him from anywhere, but the dude has a hat on and a shirt. He must have gotten it from somewhere.
Yeah.
Somehow he knew somebody.
So I've had it happen a couple times, like very condensed, close together. And the absolute first time I was out to dinner, and my friend was at a Phillies game, and he calls me and he's like, "Oh my God, someone is wearing the Beeb," and I'm like, "Wait, what?" And he's like, "I'm at the Phillies game. They were just on the jumbotron. It's you, like it is your shirt, like that's yours." And I was like, "Oh my God, can you take a picture?" Like, I'm like, stressed out. And then I was in my neighborhood a couple months ago, and I seen this girl walking down the street, and I was with my best friend from college, and I was like, "I think that's my shirt."
That's funny.
And she was like, "What?" And I'm like, "No, that's mine." And I like charged over this lady like a maniac.
Yeah.
And I was like, "I love your shirt." And she was like, "Thanks." And I was like, "It's mine." She just looked at me and she was like, "I know." And I was like, not that I don't remember like my customers, because I have ones that repeat, but like probably not face to face. I can't remember your name, but thank you for your purchase.
it's
I love
cool.
it.
Yeah.
it's cool.
That is awesome. Yeah, I know. When we were going about the giveaways, every time I get a haircut, I'm like, so is this going to be the giveaway? I try to get my little free haircut here. So one question we ask all of our guests is, how do you manage work-life balance? And so how do you not freak out with 10 orders while you're, during the day doing something else totally different? We talk about this all the time. It's like getting like anxious reading an email or something. Like, oh my God, I'm not even on the clock. Why am I doing this to myself? How do you even manage all that? Because sometimes it gets kind of crazy, or you can allow it to run your whole life. When I first started, like, oh, meet me here, man, I was like, dropping things off out of my trunk, driving this town over here, you're all over the place. And like, that was the reason why we started a website. Otherwise, what is the point of all this?
So last year, like full transparency, I had no work-life balance. I had no boundaries of like, okay, like hang it up, it's okay. And if I'm being honest, I didn't know what to expect. I made like an Eagle shirt, and it was at the beginning of the season, and I had no idea. Just like, I think I posted it on like Facebook Marketplace, like no real idea of what was going to happen. And in one weekend, I think I had like 30 orders.
Holy smokes.
And I lived in an apartment that was like super small. I was like, I'm gonna kill my cats if I like just delete all this stuff at one point in time. Like, I can't do this.
It's hysterical.
And I was like, I was working 45 hours a week as a nanny, coming home, and every night I would work from 7 in the morning to 5:30 at night as a nanny, coming home at 6 and working from 6 to midnight, making shirts, doing decals, running to Michael's and whatever I had to do. And I burned myself out so fast that I didn't want to do it anymore. Like, at all. Like, I had no interest. Like, tap me out. I don't care about football. I don't care about any of this. And I had to give myself like a decent break. And when I came back, I had to have like a schedule of like, no, I cannot drive you something immediately. I cannot have something the same weekend, because I might not have it in, and I'm not going to drop off my plans to run and make sure I have your size. I had to have better boundaries of what was okay and what wasn't. And like, if they were upset because they didn't like that had to be okay. Because I was like stressed out, tired, everything. Yeah, there's a lot of times where even when you organize and set something up and you get the no-shows, or, oh man, I forgot, I'll hit you up with the money next time I see you, and you're just like, oh my God. They have no idea. It's like, all those little purchases is what runs this. It's not like, I don't have no loans out on this thing. Like, I don't even know, what are you talking about? I'm like, it's fine, but then
I realized I just rushed from work. I just rushed, go home. Then I forgot a hoodie or a shirt. Then I'm running back. Then I'm like giving them extra stuff for you not to even show up, or you show up and don't even have, what we agreed on.
Before I did the shirts, I made this girl, not to talk about her, but I made this girl a sign for her wedding, like the not the ceremony, like the reception. And she wanted these dance floor rules, and she wanted everything in a different font, and she wanted it took me hours to make this.
Wow.
And I did it, and I didn't take, rookie mistake, I didn't take a deposit of anything, and I was just like, you're a nice person, I'm a nice person, okay, pick it up, pay me when you pick it up. And she was like, oh, by the way, my wedding was canceled because of COVID, I don't need it anymore. And I was like,
oh man,
I'm so sorry that your wedding was canceled, but I'm still a business. And she was like, yeah, I lost a lot of money already, kind of sucks. And I was just like, and then she blocked me. And I was just like,
oh man,
wow.
I will never do this again. T-shirt, whatever the case may be. I cannot. It was so heartbreaking to put that much out, so much time. So I've had to come up with it, even if it's just one shirt. If I don't really know you personally, okay, well, you can Venmo me, whether you want to do a deposit or the full thing, and then pick it up whenever. I had to get a better system of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Sometimes you had a hoodie, he specifically asked for it, whatever. So Jim's drops off at the barbershop. It's an easy location to come and grab some.
Yeah.
I still have it. It's still sitting here. It's been 3 or 4 months, and you dropped it off. He never showed up, but he begged for it.
I made a specific, a one-off, made a custom, but yeah, I mean, that's not the first time, but I sometimes do it for my own peace of mind, because there's some, customers that will just keep asking or keep at it, blah, blah, blah. But I also even keep that to a minimum. And I just help, hey, listen, go to the website, check out the website, see what's there, because of that exact reason. Here I am, missed half of my son's soccer practice or game, whatever it was, to go to a specific store to get a specific hoodie, because it was I was doing one-offs, and what I was doing was trying new designs. So I was just getting going to the store and just whatever hoodie or something they had on clearance, I was just getting it just to test this thing out. And then I was wearing them. Well, when you do that, some people are like, oh my God, I want that. I'm like, oh, I did not know you wanted this. So I went to 3 of these stores, 3 of these Macy's, and finally found this one. Here I am, and I'm taking a loss already. I already know I am, all the gas, everything. And then I remember staying for half of my son's game or something like that, or I had to drop him off instead of staying for it, and then do it for 4 months later, the person still hasn't even, and that's why I was saying I seen it all. Well, I shouldn't say I seen it all, but you see so much or you're just numb to it, and it's actually kind of sad.
It's gotten to the point now, I think I have probably 6 or 7 orders, they're paid for, so I'm not pressed about it, but they're just sitting in my office all bagged, all lined up, thank God I have their names written in it, because it's been a month or two and still not picked up, to where I think I wrote someone the other day and I was like, I still have your stuff, I just want to let you know I'm not hoarding it, you can get it whenever. And she was like, oh, okay, I'll be there next week. And I was like, okay.
How about this week?
Okay. Okay.
I need some more space.
I'm only one person with a room.
No, it's true. I mean, and to everyone else's, credit, you don't know what you don't know, and so until you do it yourself, you have this I have a bizarre appreciation for what you do, because it's I know that's not easy. And then you basically have, for customer service purposes, you still have to do it with a smile.
I had this man, he bought something from me on, I want to say, Facebook Marketplace. And he had said to me, can I come in between, I have a rehab appointment or something like that, can I come after? And I was like, well, I leave for work at 7:30, so if you want, you can pay me, I'll leave it, I live in a very small neighborhood, small street, no one's touching your bag. I'll leave it on my porch underneath my rocker, you can go pick it up. And he was like, don't now, I'll pay for it after. And I was like, well, I'm sorry, sir, I can't leave you a shirt with no payment, that's odd. And he was like, don't you think a good review is worth more than $20? And I was like,
what?
Wow.
So he was already trying to tarnish.
Yeah, like I didn't know if it was because like he was like an older man and I was a woman. Like he thought he could kind of like talk to me how he wanted, and I was like, no, actually, it's not. Like you can give me my money, or I can give it to someone else. It's a shirt. Like if you, no offense, if you don't want it, someone else will.
Yeah,
so it's okay.
Yeah.
And he was just like, oh no, I'll send it right now. I was like, okay, cool.
So
He's
weird.
like haggling into pay.
Yeah, if you don't want the shirt, it's okay.
So
but
what
like,
was the
I'm
point
not
of
gonna
it?
just give it to
What
you.
was
That's not
the
how this
point of-
works, sir.
Yeah. What's the point if you're still gonna buy it anyway?
Yeah, and I'm not exactly
Like-
someone who like bites her tongue, so I have no problem kind of sticking up for myself. And I was like, no, like you can get the shirt or you can leave. It's all right. Like
for
pay me or
sure.
leave. It's all right.
Yeah, another with small businesses, there's some sketchy things that can happen.
Yeah.
And so one of them was I was just meeting this guy randomly somewhere. I have no idea, and he's telling me like a very specific place to meet him, and I'm like, oh man. And I remember telling him, I have to like if you want this today, because he was gonna have some DJ event that he was gonna do or whatever, and I was like, If you need this for today, you have the only time slot I have available is X, Y, and Z. I didn't even have that. I just was like forcing
You're
it.
just being nice.
Yeah. And I just remember like thinking, like I remember having my son in the car with me and just whatever, running errands, and then I never take my kids anywhere to things like that.
Yeah.
So I remember just hauling ass to go home to drop my son off to my wife, and then get back in the car to then, because I was in totally opposite directions, to then drop him off and then go back. And I'm there, I'm like, I'm here. He's like, oh, I couldn't make it. And just, it was like 2.5 hours worth of my time, like all that. And it was just like, oh, I can't make it. And I was giving it to the guy because it was going to be promo, because he's going to be a DJ. He's going to rock my stuff. And it was just like, dude, you can't even do it for free. And I'm like going out of my way. Like that was kind of crazy.
It's like such a letdown too, because then I try not to let it like affect the next person. Because they didn't do that to me. And some people are great. Like some people are like, no, I will be there and I'll do this and I'll do that and I'll give you this and I'll share this. Like amazing. But some people just suck.
Yeah. Oh, that was the other thing though. It was like in this very strange area I was unfamiliar with. I'm like, oh man. So like you put me in that position, right? Because you told me to meet you at this specific spot. Then I'm sitting there for like 10 minutes and you're like, yeah, I can't make it. Like it was like a nonchalant response. I'm like, I'm sitting here. Like, I just dropped my son. I did all this.
Or even like when you first started, you were like just handing the shirts out to people. He's like, all I want is just you to take a picture with it and post it, put it on social media. We'll share it. We'll do this. They'll take the shirts and that was the end of that. We never seen the person. We never seen the shirt. We never
at least.
And it's like
60%.
It was that simple.
no,
you wanted the shirt, and the deal was you wear the we give you the shirt, or he gives you the shirt. You just post it on social media.
Or just
That
send me
simple.
a picture.
Or send
You
a
don't
picture.
have to post
Yeah.
it.
Right.
I've had the
It's
same
that
thing.
simple.
I've been like, if I will literally give you whatever. Please just take a picture. But then I've also had the polar opposite, where I've like reached out to some guy on the Iron Pigs, the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, and I had just seen like he like was a Philly, I guess, for a day or however that works. He like came out for the day, and I wrote him and I was like, hey, by the way, I am Candace. I am the Busy Beeb. I seen like you came up for the day. If you would love any Philadelphia Phillies stuff, let me know. And congratulations on your engagement. I can send your fiance whatever she wants to. And I like wasn't expecting anything. I was super nervous. I looked like a creep. And like I sent them stuff. His girlfriend or his fiance wanted stuff, and like the other day she like posted it and tagged me, and I was like,
How cool is that?
That is awesome.
like you're doing that, but like normal people won't.
No, and shout out to like there's the people who every time I give them something or they buy something, they're always rocking it, always taking pictures, always. I do have like the loyal squad. But it's so true. It's so hard to not get like twisted about it, because you're like, dude, I just gave away like thousands of dollars of merch and I got like 2 pictures out of it.
And I've been so fortunate. There's some other small businesses, like there's this baker. She is in Philadelphia, like near like Franklin Mills Mall, and she's very good treats, and she is the sweetest girl. She has way more followers than I do, and she is like, oh, if you like this, like I'll give you these brownies, give me a shirt, and she'll post it, and like every time she posts me, I kid you not, I get like 30 followers that day, and I'm like, you don't have to do that, but you are so kind. Like there's just some really, really good people, and then some people who just don't.
I love it. Well, is there any topics or items you wanted to talk about that we didn't get to? If not, what's the best way folks can connect with you?
Probably the best way I would say is Instagram. I'm active on that constantly, and that's where all the messaging, you can order from Etsy on there. We post stories of flash sales, giveaways, everything really was on that in like real time, as opposed to Facebook, which kind of can get delayed sometimes. So I would definitely say Instagram, which is the Busy Beeb.
I love it. All right, so what is your final question? What is your recommendation to anyone trying to achieve their dream with a new brand, new business, startup? What do you got?
I would say, just like, even if you're unsure of yourself, even if you're not sure how it's gonna do, even if one person loves it, post it, do it, make it. Like, because that one person will like it, and then eventually another person will like it, and always learn different stuff, like whether it's networking, social media, whatever little tidbit you can learn, like, and don't be afraid to like make friends, because like there's people who even sell the same exact things that I do, and they like, I learned so much from them. I think it's just so kind and so great. So always learn and just don't give up.
I love it. So there you have it. We like to wrap things up with quotes, and the first one is by Helen Keller. Optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence. And the second one is by Maya Angelou. My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style. The Busy Beep. In this episode, we have special guest Candace Renzi. We cover topics that range from marketing, creativity, entrepreneurship, fashion, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Helen Keller and Maya Angelou. Awesome. Guys, thanks again for joining us. The Rotated Views podcast was produced for self-development purposes. Huge shout out to our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Blessed Lifestyle brand. That is BL3SSED.com. Also sponsored by The Motivation Files Unleashed. This motivational mixtape will be your fuel for success. Available on all platforms. Guys, don't forget to visit the website, JimmyleeVelez.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Rotated Views. If you have any inquiries or questions, email us at info@JimmyleeVelez.com. On behalf of myself and the rest of the crew, we wish you massive success. Stay blessed.